Amazing privilege to be able to speak to someone who's been an inspiration for countless musicians and music fans for half a century. Yes, founder, solo artist, serial collaborator, and most recently, co-creator of the Anderson Ponty Band, Jon Anderson. Hello, Jon.
Hey, how you doing?
It's great to speak to you. Now, first of all, there's something I need to mention, which I really wish I didn't have to, and that's the loss of Chris Squire. That's left a huge hole in the musical world, hasn't it?
Yes, well, I was talking about him yesterday with a friend about how much fun we had together. A friend of mine in Italy that I'm working with on some music, he sent me a link to a newfound, it's Hemel Hempstead sort of live show with conversations with everybody, and it was great to see Chris, and it was great to know that over the years we've been able to make such interesting and great music. And of course, when he got very sick, I got in touch with him, and we had a very good conversation about, I said to him, I wouldn't be here without you, man. You know, without you and your musical talent, I wouldn't be doing what I do. So I want to thank you deeply. And we sort of got into that world of remembering who we are, which is great.
Yeah, of course. You're very much back in circulation again with a new album from the Anderson Ponty Band, Better Late Than Never, and a tour. Do you think it's difficult to get excited again about being out there performing with a band?
Well, I'm more excited than ever because these guys are brilliant musicians, and Jean-Luc is a treasure. We're very connected like musical brothers. We're just very happy to work together. It was a year ago we actually did the two shows up in Aspen that created the album and the video. So it's taken a while for us to get ready to tour, and we're going to be rehearsing next week, and I couldn't be more excited. I've been learning all my lyrics and getting my stage clothes together and think, well, you know, I've been doing a lot of shows over the past 10 years. I didn't stop touring. I started doing solo touring, which I love very much because it's storytelling and it's being very connected to smaller audiences. And so off we go again with the band, and we're just going to have a great time. We're going to develop our show and make it as good as we can, and we'll be in Europe next spring, I believe.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Can't wait for that. When you think back to the Yes shows you did in the 70s, I mean, do you think you'll ever be playing to 100,000 fans again in JFK Stadium? And do you prefer the smaller venues or the larger ones?
Playing to small audiences is fun, I gotta say, because you can see them and feel them. Big audiences is just an amazing experience.
Yeah.
I was lucky to do a concert in Iceland, 3,000 people, beautiful concert hall there in Iceland with a band called Toddmobile. I don't know if you've seen the video.
Yes, I have. Yes, it's lovely. Yeah.
It's just beautiful to do that, you know, and we're going to go out now. We're doing 1,500 theaters, 2,000, you know, and then 1,000 theaters. So we're just going to get back into that groove of playing our show, because the music will take us where we're going to go, and that's the important thing.
Absolutely. And now, I love the music on the APB album. I've been playing it in my car, and actually my 10-year-old daughter loves it as well. She's really getting into it. It's got a great spirit and a feeling of freedom to it. Do you think that's a direct result of working with Jean-Luc?
Very much, yeah. Because he's a guy that's been around the block a few times like me. We're both in our 70s. He's 72 now. I'm 71 this month. And you start thinking, what are we going to do in the next 10, 20 years? Because I don't believe I'm going to stop making music. And we started rehearsing together, knowing we had written some music together, and knowing that obviously put a show on, you want to do songs that people know when people come. And so I said, well, we're going to do 2 or 3 songs I love. So Yes songs, you know, and John and Vangelis songs, and the ones we're writing. So it just seemed natural for us to be happy about putting on a good show. It wasn't like, let's make a good album. No, we just wanted to make a good show. And it turned out to be a good album, so it works both ways.
Yeah, I mean, the reaction to the album has been brilliant. When you're considering what Yes songs to do reworkings of, I mean, you've done countless reworkings of Yes songs over the years. How do you choose which ones to do, and how do you choose how to approach them?
Well, you're working with musicians that are very flexible. I've been doing Time in a Word as a reggae song on solo, because it's a lot easier to play. You know, it just is fun. It's more of a fun song.
Yeah.
So I started playing it at rehearsal one time, and they all started joining in, and before we knew it, I said, that's the song. That was perfect. Thank you, guys. it's as though they just do it, you know?
Yeah.
And when we did, I think, Wonder Stories, I just said to Wally, who was a brilliant keyboard player, a marvelous piano player, and he was just tinkering on the piano. I said, okay, you just do a couple of minutes or a minute into, I don't know, just play some piano, and then we'll just go into this song. And he started playing. And this is in rehearsal, and he just looked at me and said, are you ready now? I said, yeah, and I started singing. And that's how good music is created, when it isn't really hard to do. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. When I listen to Jean-Luc playing the violin and that amazing virtuoso style of his, it does remind me a bit in places of Steve Howe.
Very much, yeah. I was listening just the other day. I hadn't actually listened to the album for a couple of months.
Right.
And I was doing a radio show in Los Angeles and had the whole album on headphones, and I was just saying, wow, this is pretty good, you know. I was very surprised how good it sounded, and his work is just, he's just on that level, you know. He just very, very powerful, very spontaneous at times, very, very organized. He's a classic musician.
So, I mean, you've got guitar work on there as well, of course. How does working with a virtuoso violinist, though, compare with working with virtuoso guitarists? Is it any different?
It's the same. You know, music is music. Jean-Luc will send me some rough ideas that he's doing more or less on keyboards. Chord sequences and grooves and things. And we've written about 5 songs this year, and I was just listening to one yesterday that we did in April, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be good. Maybe we'll throw this into the show, because you know, we want to be adventurous when we're performing.
Yeah, well, I mentioned my 10-year-old daughter a moment ago, Charlotte, and the track that really touches us is the one called A for Aria. How did that one come about?
Good. Well, again, I work with musicians all over the world. They send MP3s of music, and my good friend Enrico Tomat, he lives in Italy, and we actually saw him for the first time the other year. Me and my wife went on a trip to Italy, and we met up in Florence, and it was wonderful to meet him and his family. And I've been working with him over the past couple of years on some piano music. He's a very talented piano player, just doing piano compositions and that kind of thing. And then one day he sent me this wonderful chord sequence, and I couldn't stop singing. You know, I sang this, what I said it was an aria, Have a Feeling, you know. And then when we came to rehearse the show, I'd sent it to Jean-Luc and said, would you be interested in trying this song out, you know, as part of the show? Because there's certain things that I remember doing with Yes. We would do a very strong up-tempo song, and then all of a sudden into a sort of melodic, lightweight, sort of sounding sort of piece, and then back to another strong piece of music. It's just the way I always worked with Yes was to be able to design the show, design a piece of music and so on like that. So being in a band, you can start redoing those ideas again.
Yeah, well, it's an absolutely beautiful piece of music, and it does remind me of some of those classic moments of Yes music. Do you have a favourite track on the album?
Well, I do actually. The one that I really like, which we haven't really kind of finished yet, even though we've released it, is a song called Listening to Me.
Yeah.
It's something about the framework of the lyric going with the juxtaposition of the music that really is fun to do and really lovely to sing. And I like the lyrics very much because in some ways they're very strong ideas, you know. And, you know, it's funny because I'm re-listening to the lyrics that I've done on the album of the new songs and realizing really what they mean rather than just the idea that they sound good and I like the lyric kind of here and there. But then now I'm sort of getting into the deeper meaning of what I was trying to say, you know.
Absolutely. Okay, well, thank you very much indeed for talking. There is one last question which on the Yes Music podcast the listeners wouldn't let me get away with if I didn't ask you this question, and it's that hoary old chestnut. Will you ever work with Yes again?
Well, the thing is, I never left Yes. The idea, I remember when we first started Yes, which was a zillion years ago. And we would sit around, and I said, after we changed a couple of people in the band, with Steve was there, and I think Rick had just joined, and I said, you know, when I think of Yes, it's something up there. It's not actually us. It's something above us, you know? Yeah. So whoever gravitates to working Yes is part of Yes, you know? And I never felt that I left that idea. Yeah. You understand?
Absolutely.
So there'll come a time when I'm working with what you would call Yes. I'm sure it'll happen again. I don't know who will be there in the band, but I know that I still gravitate to want to do some great Yes music and still be part of Yes in a, I don't know, it's a very emotional thing in some ways.
Yes.
It's not like, oh, you're in the band, you're out of the band. No. I don't think about it like that because I revere everything that we did. I love everything that we did musically. And I was actually down with Trevor last week and we were talking about the Talk album.
Yes.
And how beautiful some of that music was.
That's one of my favorites.
And then I remembered we did That Is, which is
Yes.
a long-form piece of music we did. And I really aspired to that idea that we shouldn't, or I shouldn't, stop wanting to do long-form pieces of music because music is more like a journey, you know, and an adventure. And you can call it Yes music if you like. But I don't think that answers your question. Sorry.
It absolutely does. And I believe that Yes Music will go on forever.
Sure.
So thank you so much for taking the time to contribute to the Yes Music podcast. And it's been a delight to talk to you.
Love to all the Yes fans, guys, you guys, man. Love you guys. Bye.
What an amazing, surreal experience. I hope you enjoyed it and that I didn't come over too much like a giggling schoolboy. So now on to part 2 of this bumper episode, the live draw for the ABP album.